My name is Miriam Sauhatz, and I'm not from the legal background. I don't have that legal background, as I indicated. And I'm not sure why I was invited, but I'm grateful. And of course, if you had shared my CV, I've worked in government mainly, and I've been in a number of sectors, from education to health to social development and to the Department of Environment, but also to the Department of International Relations that trained me on conflict resolutions and mediation. But as I said, my whole interest is as an activist, of course, an agenda activist and a human rights activist, is around ensuring that there's access to justice by ordinary people. And from all your presentations and all of you, I'm truly humbled and inspired, because I thought you were going to talk from that high academic level. But I've seen your heart too, in genuinely wanting to ensure that the court processes the law, as someone, and as most of you said, you put the human being, you put the person at the center of the law, and find ways to ensure that whatever processes at the end of the day ensure justice and preserve the human rights of everyone that is involved. So basically, I want to thank you, as I said, and thank you for having made me to be part of this historic event, aimed at finding ways and strategies of settling disputes and conflicts, especially arising and created by the extraordinary circumstances of the pandemic, COVID-19. My point comes in that aspect, because you asked us to also reflect on how the pandemic has impacted on the rights of civilians also, but also on the right to employment, and on the right to safety and security, all those aspects. And reports, many reports, including the United Nations reports, have indicated that women and children in particular have been adversely affected by the impact of COVID-19. And many have been forced into taking extreme measures of survival, often leading to conflicts to existing country laws and regulations, especially the lockdown regulations. And this has led to people being incarcerated, losing both their freedom to earn a living, but forced into hostile environments and circumstances. And as I said, amongst those jailed would be your vulnerable sections of our communities, the women and children. And dealing with such vulnerable sections of our communities requires greater understanding, sensitivity, and empathy of circumstances that have led people into such desperate situations. I mean, you have seen also on social media where women will be arrested, being forced to go out and sell fat cakes just to put bread on the table, and many children that were also arrested due to the lockdown regulations. So I'm happy to hear. I'm happy to hear more and more of you talking about mediation that will also require your intelligence. What is it? Somebody talked about your, what is it? Putting your heart in this whole thing and ensuring that indeed access to justice is maintained, but also the rights of individuals are protected. And lastly, from me, which I would want, all of you maybe to consider, and I think you have talked about it, is that alternative dispute resolutions mechanisms have to do with harnessing bottom-up, homegrown, and at times tradition-based methods. I mean, as I said, I'm also concerned about migrants that have found themselves in very bad situations against the law of the country, but also not being provided with the kind of support that would ordinarily be provided to the locals in terms of access to justice, as I said. They may also be seen in the light of mediation, negotiation, and other dialogue processes that are inclusive and issues-based or geographically context-based. Basically, what we are saying is that more and more mediation processes should ensure that women and children are put at the center of these processes, but also they are trained to understand their rights, but also trained to be able to negotiate better deals for their participation. So, in summary, the issue is, some of you have indicated that there is already available training facilities and processes for ordinary citizens like some of us, and women and children, as I said. To what an extent are these trainings available for us, as I said, but also how much willing are you to ensure on the wrong side of the law around lockdown regulations are catered for in the mediation processes? Thank you. I would want to be one of those that are trained further. And as I said, I'm not from the academic background. I'm just somebody who's passionate about ensuring that also favors the marginalized. I am done. Thank you.
Miriam, thank you very, very much. And I'd like to thank Christian Endres from Konrad Adenauer Stiftung for introducing you to us. Thank you very much for your presentation, and we sincerely appreciate it. Colleagues, are there any questions or comments for Miriam? Nothing at this stage. I would just like to say that I'm extremely grateful to all the participants who have been forthcoming and come to present at our first annual Alternative Dispute Resolution colloquium. I'd also like to thank Juta and LexisNexis for offering us some assistance. Kagiso, you've been recognized, sir.
Thank you, Skanda, and thank you so much for all the speakers. It has been quite an interesting engagement. I just wanted to find out from Miriam, because she says she is not from an academic background, but what I wanted to ask her is, does she think that it would add value or it would be advantageous for people like her who do not come from legal background to receive some sort of training, whether it is in a form of short courses from university that will enable them to take part meaningfully in this kind of processes?
Thank you for the question, and definitely, we could benefit from that kind of training. I've just indicated that just participating in this colloquium has been such an eye-opening experience for me. So definitely it will benefit us. But also, I think there should be greater attempts for awareness of the general public. I've just cited one section of the community, and I said women and children, but a whole lot of other people could benefit from these discussions that were held here. So definitely, we will benefit. I will benefit from that kind of training. Thank you.